Hey guys, and welcome to my very first LAN battle replay of Total War Warhammer 3. I'm a rubber duck of war, bringing the might of Grand Cathay up against Logic and his Slaanesh demons. We did play this game on live stream. We did about 6, I think, LAN battle games and then a couple of domination ones over on Twitch just the other days. If you want to check out more LAN battles and check out some glorious action between me and the broski himself, there is a link down below to my Twitch channel and the big video should be up there. We're going to be delving into the False Oasis, which is a Cathayan desert map. Big fan of this kind of inclusion of a brief description of what the maps are like. It's going to make it much easier for people to discover, you know, maps that they enjoy. Big, nice open maps as well for standard kind of Warhammer 2 feel of those tournaments and so on. We've got a pretty fun build alongside us. Obviously, bring in the Storm Dragon herself. I'm a big fan of her brother, the mighty Iron Dragon, but nonetheless, she is probably a bit more competitive, to say the least. So let's delve into my build. I'm actually probably going to pop this into pause mode, just so you can see all the damage of my glorious Sky Junk. And yes, I have brought my junk to battle. It is looking pretty damn beautiful, the mighty floating balloon up in the skies, and can certainly bring quite a big punch. 848 missile strength, decent amount of ammunition, plus a couple of bombs to boot. We'll have to see if we can get it to work. We have double great Longmar riders, and these guys are pretty much essential if you want to bring a sky jump, because we have to compete with the enemy air game, and all demon factions do have Furies, and you can already see my opponent has brought a couple there, so we're going to have to counter them in some way, and Longmar riders will rip Furies limb from limb and laugh over their fallen corpses, because they are much more elite, though a lot more expensive. Going for a relatively defensive approach, you pretty much can play Cathay in a almost dwarvish style of play, or maybe more if you kind of going defensive empire is probably a better way to put it, because they also have the flyers and the fast mobile elements of cavalry. With a load of peasant long spearmen, they are cheap, they are cheerful, not going to do too much damage, but they are here to hold the battle line. And then we have triple Jade Warriors in the back. Jade Warriors, mid-tier infantry, relatively elite, and I like the Halberd version in particular quite a bit, as they can still do decent damage to enemy infantry, but likewise can also hold back some of the enemy large entities. With one fire rain rocket in the center, this is our central artillery piece, looking to bring the pain to the enemy. And then we have one unit of the Iron Hail Gunners, who have really short range, but boy oh boy do they hit frickin' hard. Down on the ground, leading our armies with a rather glorious pose there. Look at her go. She's contemplating life and the existence of mankind. We have the dragon in human form herself, Miao Ying, the Storm Dragon, coming in with all her competitive spells. With the Wrath of the Storm, really nice area ability, which does give immune to psychology and increase in attack. Transformation of the Dragon, we have Earthblood, we have Regrowth, and we have Talons of the Night, which is a huge stationary area of effect, as a kind of almost undeadly dragon claws come up from the dirt and drag their enemies down to a murky grave. You can see a big fat volley is getting popped here. My opponent has a bucket ton of Marauders, just Marauders of Slaanesh and Marauders Spears of Slaanesh, just all the way along, going really wide. Up against Cathay, you know they're going to go defensive, so my opponent trying to wrap around as much as possible. Got some more interesting units in the skies, though. We do have 4 units of the Chaos Furies, so it's going to be quite a scrap in the air game. We also have double Hellstriders of Slaanesh, who look absolutely beautiful. Some of the coolest looking units in the game. All of the mounts of Slaanesh are real top tier. I didn't think Slaanesh was going to be a faction that I was going to really gravitate towards too much when the initial factions were unleashed, but their models are so insane, some really cool attack animations. We have Seeker Chariots. I'm not sure if they're a bit bugged at the moment. They don't seem to do that much damage, but they still do fantastic harass. So we'll have to wait and see how that does pan out. I'll probably double check with CN, see what the status is on them. We have more Seekers. We also have a Herald of Slaanesh. Massive fan of the Herald. Now, the Exalted Lords are amazing, but Heralds of Slaanesh can also do some decent damage. Coming in with Pendulum, Melkos, Mystifying Miasma, and Enfeebling Foe, as well as those Fury Summons. Does mean they can be quite a pain for me. We also have some Fiends of Slaanesh hiding in the trees. So we do open up with some rocket barrages, and it looks like the Sky Junk got 1 kill in its first volley, whereas the Fire Rain rocket got an impressive 6 and did some way bigger damage. But maybe it was just an unlucky strike. We'll have to see how the Sky Junk does perform throughout the battle. Likewise, it is a flying target, so if your enemy hasn't prepared for it, it is basically unstoppable and can use up all its ammunition. And I'm just focusing down all the Marauders right now and trying to get rid of the infantry, because I'm not that scared of the cavalry, simply due to the fact I have a lot of spears and halberds, and Cathay in general can bring a bucket ton of anti-large, or relatively cheap and cost-effective anti-large at that. Rocket's starting to do some decent damage. The Marauders getting obliterated on approach. A few shots going wide and high, but others connecting it rather nicely. Very reminiscent of Hellstorm rocket batteries. And you can see the cavalry takes pretty big damage as well on the approach. Up in the skies, I do unfortunately eat a Melkov's Mystifying Miasma. I was looking to push forward and take the fight to the enemy. Then I realized there was more Furies than I first imagined, with a couple on the flank as well. So I'm going to have to pull back into a relatively defensive pocket to try to help protect the Sky Junk as long as possible, which is starting to add up its kills. Up to 25 now. Not bad whatsoever. Now, the Fire Rain rocket is continuing to launch shots in. Our gunners getting a little bit over-eager because of the deployment. They were actually on a bit of a slope here, and they weren't able to shoot. So I'm just continuing to pull back the Longmire Riders for now and get ready and try and hold the line in the name of the Dragon Empire. We do have some Furies being summoned in by the mighty Herald of Slaanesh. They're being birthed into the world to bring death, carnage, and vengeance to the forces of Grand Cathay. Have held them at bay for so long. Seekers Slaanesh taking some big damage now as well. I am really mixing up with the Fire Rain rocket and the Sky Junk, targeting different units. Furies are going to jump the mighty junk itself. It's relatively tanky though, but it's HP pool, so it's going to survive a while. So I'm pushing forward with my Longmire Riders to delete the other Furies, and then we can float back, and you can see they win that really comfortably. In the center, I've pushed up with the Iron Hell Gunners, unleashing a couple of deadly volleys into the Seekers of Slaanesh and some massive damage before turning around and falling back behind the Peasant line, who do form a mighty shield or pike wall to hopefully hold the Spearmen at bay. But it's looking a little bit rough. My opponent is trying to push it through the gaps, getting micro there to try and jump onto my bigger range units. Down in the low ground, you can see we do have the Longmire Riders getting pinned in by a load of the Spearmen, so the Rain Rockets going to be pouring on that fire, trying to free up the Riders to escape, and they are slowly starting to get back up into the air and engaging with the Furies, who are desperately trying to drag down the Sky Junk. I'm also going to be coming in with the awesome stationary effect, and my opponent also then comes with a pendulum on the Jade Warriors, and look at it go. It does so much damage. It's really powerful pendulum right now. Maybe the best still in the game damage wise, though some of the air effect ones I think are a bit better still because they hit a larger radius. But Marauders of Slaanesh, I wanted to call them Marauder Spearmen, are pushing up, as well as some good play by my opponent, whittling in with his Hellstriders, flanking all sides, and I simply do not have enough to protect my gunners on the ground. But that's not too big of a problem because I can protect the Sky Junk in the sky, and I am going to be forming into the Storm Dragon themselves to bring the pain to the enemy. I'm just floating around at the moment. Want to take out Furies as quickly as possible and use my dominance on the battlefield to go hunting, and we are hunting Herald of Slaanesh today. Balance powers are pretty dead even. My opponent has left some Fiends of Slaanesh. I think this is a mistake. He was joking about it in the game that it was a tactical reserve, but I think he wants them kind of in the action already helping to destroy. So that's a big boon for me, luckily. The great Longmire Riders do get hit by Melkov's Mystifying Miasma. Really nice 2-for-1 punch there by my opponent, slowing them down as he pins them in with the Seekers. And Seekers do have a juicy bonus versus large, I believe, so they're going to be doing some pretty decent damage to the great Longmire Riders, who are suffering quite badly here and getting dragged down. Another Fury summon is coming in to try to contest the Sky Junk and my Dragon, who's floating around up to no good and starting trouble in the neighborhood. Going after the Herald of Slaanesh, my opponent does bunch up his infantry on the Dragon. That is fine by me because I'm simply going to use my big arrow effect, and oh, it's such a cool animation. The poor Marauders getting dragged down to a murky and deep grave. So many bodies, and Miao Ying has been an absolute wrecking ball right now, up to an impressive 47 kills, continuing to be a bit of a nuisance. In the center, my main battle line is completely destroyed. Lovely play by the Chariots, forcing themselves in here. Fire Rain Rocket does seem to be going down. I still have some decent amounts of Jade Warriors going around. My opponent coming with a pendulum once again on the Peasants. I do attempt to dodge it, but it is going to be enough to finish them off. The Peasants dying in droves. The rut in the ground has been filled with the blood of Cathay, and I'm not too happy about that. I'm trying to avenge it as much as possible and protect the Sky Junk in the skies. We are doing have our Longmire Riders relatively effectively, despite the fact they are beat up. Fiends of Slaanesh have now been activated, and look at them bound across the battlefield. They are so rapid, charging in to bring pain to the mighty. Probably actually going after my Dragon, who I'm trying to get in the skies. Again, my opponent tries a nice 2-for-1 punch there and gives me enfeebling foe, hoping to catch me out, but I am able to escape, and the Fiends now will be feasting on the Jade Warriors of Halberds instead. You can see they come in with that Musk, lowering the melee defense and melee attack. I do finally claim dominance of the skies. The Furies are dead, at least I think so, but there is one unit in the back, which I didn't notice at the time, who could of course cause me a load of problems. Once again, going to be coming with a big air effect attack. Just getting rid of as much infantry as physically possible. Up to 157 kills now, Miao Ying. Really carrying the squad alongside the Sky Junk. Brave Jade Warriors continue to scrap it down on the ground, but they're not going to be having the best of days, I'm afraid, up against these glorious, glorious fiends who have some of the coolest animations in the game. The way they whip their tail and, like, slam it through the, stomachs of the opponents can be rather scary as they're fighting over the fallen chariot of the Seekers. It does look like my mighty cannons unfortunately have gone down here, which isn't good news for me, but luckily we still have the Sky Junk. It is, again, relatively low on ammunition now, just 3 volleys left, and a decent job, up to 91 kills, and I think can be a useful utility piece, more so in this game mode than in Domination. I have made it work in Domination, but it's a lot harder. Down on the ground, we do see a Locust of Grace go down to buff up nearby friends from the Herald of Slaanesh, as well as an enfeebling foe, and I'm just hunting this Lord as much as possible. My opponent's doing a pretty good job, though, just running around. The steed is very fast, and hiding amongst their own infantry is quite a powerful idea. Now, the Jade Warriors are getting beaten the living snot out of them, unfortunately. Fiends, as well as Hellstriders, plus the Lord, everyone is beaten up on them, so I'm just going to be constantly doing these air effect spells to try and rid the world of the enemy infantry, and hopefully allow Miao Ying to carry in the end. She is currently going after the Fury so I can protect the Sky Junk, which still does have its bombing runs, and they are okay. They do, decent damage. It's nothing too crazy, but every little bit of damage does add up. But no, the mighty balloon doth fall. My beautiful Sky Junk floats down in a graceful death and a bit of an explosion there. I'm certainly starting to run out of troops. I don't have that much left whatsoever, neither does my opponent. A very close scrap here. I still have a dragon. The dragon also can transform back, of course, into a rather angry lady, and she's very tanky. Don't mistake her for a human. She is a dragon in human form, so she can still bring the pain when she is on foot, though I'm a little bit worried by the Fiend Slaanesh down on the ground. Luckily, me in a big terraforming mode should be able to scare off a lot of these marauders, do some big burst damage. The Fire Rain Rocket crew has managed to come back. My opponent will be pinning them in place with one of their faction abilities, but we are the brave people of Cathay. We shall fight to the bitter end to slaughter those we deem unnatural and unworthy to grace our lands, and they actually win the melee fight, which is pretty hilarious from the Fire Rain Rocket crew, though they are waving themselves. Miao Ying trying to inspire them to some greater feats of heroism, barking at them in her vicious dragon mode. Soon I'm going to have to engage in one big fight. I don't have that many troops left whatsoever. Fire Rain Rocket crew will be moving forwards. Fiends of Slaanesh, as well as Hellstriders, move downhill on the charge. Miao Ying waiting. I'm actually going to try to charge the enemy cavalry. I want to take away them so they can't pin me in the game later on. And it's also a good idea to assassinate the enemy general, but I really want to get rid of this cav first. And once again, we're going to use that big vortex spell, and it should be enough, I would hope, to win this. The Fire Rain Rocket crew does indeed break, so we do stand alone, a dragon amongst demons. But the big air effect spells do so much damage all game. It's going to be enough to force off the spearmen and shatter the cavalry. And now it is Dragon versus Fiends and a Herald. We do get some nasty debuffs go down here, though, from my opponent, particularly with the added debuffs from the Fiends. We're starting to take pretty considerable damage right now, but likewise, we're still a freaking dragon, and we're whipping that tail around, slamming it down on the enemy general who runs for her life. She's starting to disintegrate, and there is no way the Fiends have enough punch to drag down the mighty Storm Dragon, greatest of all the dragons, at least in her mind. I'm sure if you asked her brother, he would have a completely different response there, but a very close game, a Pyrrhic victory for sure. And definitely the best game we had on stream. Well played to my opponent, Logic. Had a fantastic game by him. Really impressed with how he actually managed his Lord in general. Managing to juke back and forth, getting some insane value and some pretty insane kills as well. Just hiding amongst cavalry was a big problem for me. Luckily, though, we had the Sky Junk in the skies. Got 1,500 damage value and 3.6 on Miao Ying. She is comfortably, in my opinion, the best Lord for Grand Cathay, though her brother, I think, does have some nice matchups as well, where he is actually maybe slightly better than her, but only 1 or 2. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will go into breaking down my thoughts on land battles, as well as domination, what I'm planning to do on the channel, and all that stuff, including I'll delve into the damage value and kills and stuff, all that standard stuff, in a second. But before then, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up, subscribe as well for more Warhammer free content into the future, and comment down below what you thought of the battle. Bucket ton of links in the description: Twitch, Patreon, Discord, all that good stuff. If you want to see more of these battles, we did do them over on Twitch, and it's all in one live stream video, so make sure to go check it out. So now, first, before we go into the kill stuff, my thoughts on pitch battles. What am I going to do? I've had a lot of questions. Are my tournaments going to be on pitch battles? Are they going to be on domination? What am I going to be covering? Am I going to be covering both? One, neither. Am I just going to start making random content about ducks? Who knows? We'll have to see what the future does hold. But at the moment, my main plan is to cover both land battles and domination. Particularly in the early stages, though, it's going to be vastly more domination battles than pitch battles, because it's new, it's exciting, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit more than pitch battles. Now, pitch battles are still fine. They're basically exactly the same as they are from Total War Warhammer 2, which is both a good and bad thing. Of course, we have a load more factions to play with, which is, again, really nice and refreshing. But if you don't like people kiting you, you don't like people boxing against you, that's all still 100% going to be in the game, and there's not too much you can change about that, unfortunately. But if you love the grand scale, these epic battles, 2 units at the end just kind of punching it out to try to claim victory, then you're still going to love it. So I am still going to do some land battle replays and so forth, but the next couple of replays will be domination, and there will be quite a lot of domination videos going into the future because it is the new game mode that I am most excited about. It's also the game mode I am playing more. So I've played about 6 land battles so far. The reason I haven't been doing too many land battle replays is I've had no footage on it. Almost no one's playing it who is on the early access, because everyone wants to play domination at the moment and people are enjoying it and they just don't want to go back at the moment to pitch battles. But I understand there is, of course, an audience for it, and I don't want to leave you guys out in the blue either. So I do have a few videos now. Fortunately, we played 6 battles. Only one was really castable. The others were, again, a little bit RNG. Like, sometimes I bought a build and my opponent just slapped me. There's nothing I can do, and likewise, regardless of, like, micro and stuff. But if you do want to watch them, they still are up on Twitch, and they are pretty damn good fun. As far as tournaments into the future, I will still host pitch battle tournaments. They will most likely be more fun tournaments, such as my one-build battle royales, whereas probably all my competitive tournaments, at least at the beginning, will be done on domination, because it is a far more competitive mode, far more easier to manage, and far harder as well for people to kind of cheese and try and break rules and so forth, and we don't actually need rules, like external rules into the game. And towards the end of Warhammer 2, I basically stopped doing tournaments because I didn't enjoy it. I stopped playing as well a lot of multiplayer because I kind of got burnt out. I've been playing Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer for like 3 years maybe, or close to 3 years. So it was time for something new, and I've honestly just been enjoying domination a lot more, and that's why I've been doing more domination videos. But don't worry, those who do like pitch battles, I will still be doing them. Those are just my thoughts, and what's probably going to be going further in the future. I will still cover them, but domination is here to stay as well for me at the moment. And maybe I'll get bored of that at some point and go back to more pitch battles and kind of do a reverse, but I will always try to cover both. So hopefully that's answered a few of your questions. I had a load in comment sections and so on, and those are my general thoughts at the moment. Back, though, to the glorious battle. 282 kills on the mighty Miao Ying. 3,663 gold value. She's just a beast. With a dragon with an air effect spell, which she can cast when she's in dragon mode. She can't do her other spells, but she can do that one, is devastating, because if your opponent bunches up on you and kind of blobs around you with infantry, boom, you hit them with the vortex and they are out there and you have freed your dragon. Great Longmar Riders, 1.3k value on them. The other unit, 471, 81 and 1 kills. Really just here to counter the Furies, which they did successfully, and allow the Sky Junk to shine in a way. It is quite an expensive unit, but 1,500 gold value is nice, and 99 kills at that. 864 and 117 kills on the Fire Rain Rockets. The Jade Warrior Halberds, 620, 1,377 damage value on them, so some of them, you can see which ones got engaged with enemy marauders and which ones got engaged instead with the large targets they wanted to hit. Iron Hell Gunners, only 300 value, we just didn't have enough to protect them, and my deployment wasn't the best for them, being on that slant. And the Spearmen just die. The Spearmen are kind of just there to die and hold the line in the name of the Grand Cathay Empire. That's my opponent, once again, an amazing play by Logic with the Herald of Slaanesh of Shadows. 2,222 gold value is beautiful, and 197 kills, very good work. I'm actually a big fan of the Herald of Slaanesh with the Slaanesh magic, because there's a spell in there I love. I may do a whole separate video on that spell. It's so freaking good. There's like glassy shards like raining from the sky. It's really badass. With Fiends of Slaanesh getting 700 value on them. Anything else outstanding? 400 on the Seekers. It is the Hellstriders who are the anti-large. I think I said it was the Seekers earlier on. These cheaper ones are anti-large. 600 value, 375. Furies kind of struggled. 1,100 was the standout. They were the ones to bring down the Sky Junk at the end after Longmar Riders had been taken out. And the enemy Marauders, just quite a nice spread of value across the build in general. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.